Dana. Okay. The refugee debate heats up. This afternoon, the House passed a bill requiring stricter security checks for Syrian refugees before they are allowed to enter our country, despite a vow from President Obama he will veto. Earlier, the president made an alarming statement about the refugees being no bigger threat to the U.S. than tourists. Watch.
The idea that somehow they pose a more significant threat than all the tourists who pour into the United States every single day. It just doesn't jive with reality. That's not what our law enforcement thinks. My expectation is after the initial spasm of rhetoric, that people will settle down, take a look at the facts, and we'll be able to proceed.
Meanwhile, Democratic lawmakers rally along with the president, saying they believe if we don't accept Syrian refugees, then ISIS is getting exactly what it wants.
I cannot think of a more potent recruitment tool for ISIL than some of the rhetoric that's been coming out of here during the course of this debate.
When we react from fear and terror, the way these governors are reacting, we have achieved the terrorists' goals.
I think to put our program on pause might signal to Daesh that they're having an effect on what we do.
I won't let them win by conceding defeat of the American dream.
All right, so there's the messaging from the Democrats trying to be in lockstep with the president. Dana, are they winning on a communication standpoint?
Well, this legislation that you brought up actually moved very quickly, and I think Speaker Ryan had a pretty great day. You know, this is one of his first votes, and the president, despite a veto, lost today. 47 Democrats decided to vote with the Republicans in the House. In these days and times, it's a strong bipartisan vote, basically saying that they think that it's reasonable. The House bill, I actually think it is pretty reasonable. Will it pass the Senate? I don't know, but this is what I think is going to happen. You're seeing signaling from the White House already that maybe we should work this out, see if we can figure out a way to meet everybody's needs. The bigger problem is that it's not just the refugee issue and refugee program that you have to worry about. It's all the other ways that terrorists can get in, especially illegally. So I think that it was a good day for people that wanted this common sense legislation to pass.
All right, this strong moment and a nice opening for Ryan for the House here. What do you think, Bowling?
47 Democrats, Dana points out, making that a bipartisan bill that passed the House. 53% of American people think that it should stop completely. I'm not sure what the point is to be overseas in Manila today, in Europe a couple days earlier, and make this your fight. Make the GOP your fight over a refugee crisis instead of focusing on what he really should be focusing on is defeating ISIS, joining with the French, helping. You know what a real issue is? We've decided to share intelligence with the French, and the French have decided to go do joint terror raid missions with the Russians. Now you have a situation where we're giving our information to the French, who may be sharing with the Russians. You have a serious issue in the Middle East to deal with, and it's not the Republicans and what we're doing with 2,000 refugees a year. Right.
I mean, that's the problem. There seems to be kind of a, an obfuscation here, Greg, where the president is very confused. He's like, whoa, somebody hold up the cue card. Who's the enemy here? Because he's really stuck on his messaging, which is it's the GOP, it's the Republicans. They're bad. They lack humanity. This isn't America. Let all the refugees in. This is like who we are. That type of thing. That's his narrative.
Yeah, well, you can't fight a war with a grad student. What he's saying is when he's saying that if you stop the Syrians coming in, you're giving into ISIS. That's the equivalent of saying after a home invasion in which your family is assaulted, don't buy locks because that will encourage more home invasions. It's an absolute contradiction. Remember, President Obama, who is now this expert in ISIS recruitment, blamed Benghazi on a video.
Yep.
You cannot trust his wisdom. He has the foreign policy acumen of an end table. So just ignore it.
Yeah, just like disregard, rub some pledge on it, wax on, wax off, and leave it at that. Okay, we all agree this is perfect. Juan, please don't ruin the moment.
Yes, I will for you, because I'm struck by you guys who, you know what?
You always are.
Because I just find it so puzzling. Yeah, like for instance, today in Congress, right? So the Republicans put forward this bill. It does not, which remember, earlier in the week, oh my gosh, the governors and the Republican candidates for president were all saying, nope, stop the refugees, stop them cold. Oh my gosh. Paul Ryan had to tamp down that kind of rhetoric and say, no, this is not about stopping. We're not stopping.
Making it tougher.
No, yeah. And so what does that mean? Because
it could be tougher. If you can make it tougher,
how is it going to be tougher?
It could be tougher.
No, tougher by having somebody sign something and somehow take personal responsibility. Because already the system had very thorough vetting, Greg.
But they said it could make it tougher.
And it could take years. And let's not forget, this is something I said yesterday, so you're probably going to get irritated, but don't forget that since 2011, half of those Syrian refugees we've let in are children, a quarter are adults over 60, and only 2% are what you would call men of combat
And
age.
how many people do you need to set off a device?
That's fine.
One.
So therefore, why don't you, Greg, and the governor say, that's it. No more tourism in the United States. No more student visas. Is that the America you want? I think the president is right to speak aggressively, passionately, and powerfully in the spirit of the Founding Fathers about the idea that this is America. This is not going to become a place where you, for example, back in '39, oh, gee, those Jews might be communist.
I don't think the founding fathers imagined ISIS, people who are ready to drone anthrax into a stadium.
You don't think the British were over here screwing with them? Oh, please.
But the casualties were a bit less than a plane flying into a building.
Didn't you a minute ago say one? All it takes is one, and dead is dead, brother.
Okay,
yeah, but it's true.
Hold on.
With a biological weapon, once is all you need.
This is terror. I agree with you on that point.
All you need is a crock pot. These days, I mean, practically, this is the problem. Yeah, this is the deal. But one, with all due respect, you keep hearkening back to 2011. Those are old numbers. I'm talking about the new crop coming in that has recently come through. That is not all women and children. You do know that.
No. In fact, the numbers are quite similar, Kimberly.
No, I'm sorry, but we only have 1 hour to
Such women and children are overrated.
That's in Europe. I agree.
I care about women and children.
So do I.
But I cared about them 3 years ago as well. I cared about them before they were widows and before they were orphans, when we were all encouraging them to do something. And that's where Republicans should take.
We could have saved more lives.
Taliban, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, the new flavor of the month. Female. Look at the recent female suicide bomber who's shooting everybody up.
It's crazy when they say we need to come up with a plan.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, well.